Hey guys, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 9 of Couch in the Mind, clearing the mind one couch talk at a time. On today's episode, I've got Brittany George joining me in conversation, revolving around the topic of all or nothing. How's it going, Brittany?
Yeah, it's really good. How are you doing? Have you had a good weekend?
Yeah, not too bad. Pretty busy, to be fair. I'm the sort of person that when I'm in full-time work, and it's a really nice sunny day, I've got to be doing something. I've got to try and at least go to the beach or go to the gym or something that gets me out and about.
Definitely an active person. You'd be a good athlete.
And you, in talking about athletes, you were telling me that you've always been into sport, and it, obviously long term you represented Australia for as a ski aerialist. How did that come about?
Oh, dearie me. Firstly, like my mum just put me into gymnastics. She's like, you have too much energy, go away, do gymnastics so you can sleep at night. So I started gymnastics when I was maybe 2-3 years old, and I just stayed in it. I was fantastic. I was junior elite, senior elite athlete by the time I was 14, 15, and that was my whole life. Like I did not go to school. I would train 42 hours a week, go to school maybe 8 hours a week if I was lucky. Like to this day, I've done 9 to 3 days of school. It's quite ridiculous, but I graduated somehow. I don't know, but yeah, only done a few hours of school. So I was elite gymnast until I was 15, and then I got recruited by the Australian Olympic aerial ski team to join them. They taught me how to ski, they taught me how to jump, and yeah, I was with them for 8 years, 3 years on the World Cup circuit, World Championships, reserve for 2018 Pyeongchang Olympics, and yeah, so it has literally been my whole life. I've been the athlete since I was 2 till I was 20, 21, and I've had a break the last few years, but it's literally who I am. It is my whole life.
And I guess that's probably why I call the topic all or nothing, because you had mentioned to me when we first spoke about getting you on the podcast, a good friend of yours, Chris Seibel, helped me in that process. Shout out to Chris, good bloke. You were telling me that everything was, your life was revolving around sport, and that was it. And it took that break to really break you. Like you struggled because you were trying to find your identity again. And what led you to having that extensive break? What happened there?
I did not have an identity. I was labelled the athlete from a very young age, and I just rode with it. And I will admit I do have a lot of mental health issues and mental illnesses diagnosed to myself quite at an early age, and I knew this before I was even diagnosed. I was 4 or 5 years old when my brain just kind of ticked over and was like, okay, so the plan is you'll be an athlete until you're good, and when you're done, then you'll die. Then you'll kill yourself. And it was very set in stone, very firm, no deviation. That has been the life plan. So I was athlete, sport, like sport, die. That was my whole life. So everything I put into this, I put everything in. My injuries, my schoolwork went secondhand, everything went secondhand to sport. Sport was absolutely everything. So 100%, it's all or nothing.
I guess when you're really passionate about something, it is the case of all or nothing, because at that present time, that's all you're thinking about. You're thinking about, okay, so I'm at this point, and how can I get better, and how can I keep getting better? For yourself, where did you attain such a mindset, at such a young age, knowing that you were going to be doing something in the field of sport, and if you weren't doing that, then you would struggle? How did you understand mental health at that time?
Oh, it's very difficult. I mean, even now as I'm 24, I still don't understand my own mental health, but being a 4-year-old and being like, yep, sport, diet, like it's a very fixed mindset, and I am still trying to break that. Like it is a battle you have with yourself every single day, and I still struggle. Like I wake up and I'm like, I'm the athlete. Oh no, I'm not the athlete. Oh fuck, what am I? Like I don't know who I am, and that revolved around my mental health the last few years while I was competing. It was very difficult to travel 10 months a year, be in Australia 2 months, a new week, new city every week, new competition, battling mental health, being the best athlete you can be, competing against 30, 40 other girls, and just living on like 2 hours sleep. It's just ridiculous, and that 100% broke me in the last few years, especially with a sport and a team that wasn't very understanding of mental health, because it is very taboo. It's very, no, everything's on the down low, you're fine. Whereas like, no, I'm not fine, and I need help. And I sought out that help, and my team sought that help out for me, but they weren't able to help me be who I was. It was, you needed to conform, you need to fit into the group, you need to be exactly like everyone else, even though they admitted that I had mental health issues and mental illnesses. And they were just like, no, if you can't conform, you can't be an athlete, you can't be on this team anymore. And it was brutal. So I had a back injury towards the end of my career after 4 or 5 years competing on the World Cup, competing at World Championships, reserve for Olympics. Had this back injury, and then they used that to slip my mental health into it and just be like, oh, look, you're not really fitting in with a team. Like, if you can change the way you behave and act and react to things and change your mental health, like maybe you'll be fine and you can come back. But they essentially just were like, no, like your mental health is too difficult for us to handle. So having your entire life, your entire world ripped from you, from something that you have no control over or very little control over, was devastating. So that was when I hit nothing, and I had absolutely nothing, and no one stood by me.
Well, because when you're in those situations and you are against everyone else, you may be feeling this way, but you don't know how to react. Everyone's against you, and you're not going to speak up. You're struggling, and you probably have those revolving questions of what's wrong with me. You know what you need to do, but you're not getting the support that you're after. So I think even though it was a really difficult thing to do, Brittany, I think it was the best thing that you did to step away, especially in that situation, because we all, it could be mates. You could be hanging around with a group of people that aren't supportive, and it's sometimes really, really difficult to actually take a step back and go, maybe fucking they're not right for me. Maybe I actually need to be by myself for a little bit and find the right people, because they're just not picking me up and they're not there to support me in the darkest times. I mean, I know it's very, very different because you were at the peak of your career for sport, and I could only imagine like how fucking awesome that would have been. I mean, I sit back and go, holy shit, like the amount of time and hours and effort put into training to get to where you are, like is absolutely amazing. If anything, you need to not acknowledge what you've been able to achieve. Not a lot of people, you would have been 22, sorry?
20 when I finished.
See, you're 21. So you're 21 and you were reserves for the 2018 Winter Olympics. There's not a lot of people that can say that. So if anything, you've got to commend yourself for being able to do that.
100%. And I do. Like, people say, oh my God, you've done all these things. You've been to all these countries. And I'm like, absolutely, I have. And I'm 20 and I've been to Finland, China, US, blah, 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 blah. But like, I was there for essentially work. My sport was work. I would see the airport, I'd see the hotel and the competition site, and we'd be gone in 4 days. And then we're in a new city. Airport, hotel, competition site, airport, hotel, competition site. It was revolving, just, oh God, I don't even know what to call it. But when my mental health started creeping up on me, it was really difficult, because I had a friend from the Canadian team who suffered with bipolar and another multiple illnesses. And when I got diagnosed, it was like I really reached out to him and connected with him, and I saw the way that his team treated him and supported him, and his family, his parents, his coaches, even, they were just like, okay, like I understand this and this and this, so we're going to do it this way today. And it was fantastic, and they worked with him. And then I would look at my team and my coaches and just see that they're not here to support me. They're here because I am basically, I'm a medal. If I don't win a medal and I'm not going to win a medal, I'm not worth anything to these people. And that's exactly how it went. I hit the point where my mental health was struggling, and it was too difficult for them to deal with, taking out too much time and effort for them to deal with. So I wasn't worth it. I wasn't worth the time and money anymore. And, that was it. That was the peak. So as much as I commend myself for everything that I have done and the mental health struggles that I've been through and the numerous amounts of, oh God, the list of things I could tell you that I've suffered through over the years, and doing that while being an elite athlete, 100% I commend myself for it. But it's also like my mental health was my downfall, and I definitely needed someone there for me at the time, and I had no one. So when I hit all or nothing, I hit nothing, and I had 2 people in my corner. Out of the thousands and thousands I knew and who I'd known over the years, I had 2 people support me, and it was a real eye-opener. It was brutal.
Yeah. You think being such a big part of Australia, performing at that level, representing Australia, that you would be getting the support that you needed. And I get, from an outsider's perspective, maybe it is because all they want to do is make Australia proud and get the medals, all this sort of stuff, as you were saying, Britt. But they brush aside everything else, putting walls up about, whether or not you're struggling. We don't want to hear that. You want to be in your best state possible, be prepared, be ready for the next, for the next jump, that sort of stuff. Where do you think, if we look back, if we could do it differently, how do you think sport as a whole can take on board mental health better and just be there for people? If you were to go back in your situation, how do you think the situation could have been handled better from everyone else that kind of brushed you aside?
I think it's really difficult because I was training, 40 plus hours a week. I lived, breathed this sport. We'd wake up, we live in an apartment together, we train 12 hours, we come home, we have dinner together, we go back to sleep. It was full-time. It was a full-time job. So I started missing school when I was in grade 8 for skiing. Like I was at school maybe, a couple of days a year, a couple hours here, a couple hours there. So it was difficult that I couldn't be at school and I couldn't learn how other people grew up and what they did, because I was essentially on my own since I was a child. I was 40 hours a week doing gymnastics. I raised myself. My coaches raised me. I transferred into skiing. I traveled around the world by myself. I went through airports by myself. I cooked, cleaned, washed my own clothes by myself. And I was 12, 13, up until I was 20. Like I did everything myself, and I grew up extremely, extremely young. So that combined with mental illness, as depression, any other mental illness, will make your brain age faster. So I'm 24 at the moment, but mentally I feel like I'm 35, 40. I'm ridiculously beyond where I should be. I didn't get those childhood years, but I didn't get those teenage years either. I just went from a baby to full-grown adult in, a full working time job as an athlete. And it was really difficult, and they didn't really help you in the sense of like having a backup plan. Like if you think about, the football in America, to go to college and be a football star in college, you need to maintain a 4.0 GPA all throughout your college years to be able to stay on the team. And I think that is fantastic because they have that backup if they don't go pro after college. They've got their degree, they've got their 4-year graduate, as well as their athlete, as well as their sport. They've got a backup plan. They know who they are outside of sport. It's not like 98% sport, 2% Brittany. It's a well-developed human and an athlete that's talented enough to do sport, not an athlete that's slightly going to function in society after they leave. Like there's no transition into society. There's no support into society. It's just, you're an athlete. You're stuck with that label. It's like, yep, you're an athlete, you're an athlete, you're an athlete. But who am I? Who am I as a person who is Brittany? And I don't know that. I still don't know that. I struggle every day to know who that is, but there's no way to learn that unless you've grown up around it. People have taught you about it. They teach you like your values, your morals, all these sorts of things. It's just like, I have no idea who I am, and it needs to be taught earlier. And I think other people need to support that and push that. Coaches need to be like, yeah, you need downtime, you need to study, you need to go to school, you need to socialize. Whereas I was just 12 hours a day living together for 10 months a year. All I knew was the 4 people around me and the staff. I wasn't a person. I was an athlete. I was a metal machine. That was it.
Going back to your age, I was going to say that you might feel 40, but you don't look 40. You don't have to worry about that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Crazy. It makes so much sense the way you say that. Now I've actually got a better understanding of what you mean. You put so much into sport itself, you didn't have that plan B. So true what you said about the NFL, sorry, college football. They do have to have the a 4 GPO to be able to play NFL. And it's so good because if they find out that after a year of playing sport it doesn't work out for them, they've got something to fall back on. You know, they can mold into society. Whereas for yourself, it would have been so much harder because that's all you've done. You've done the gymnastics. You did minimal work. You did minimal time at school. Main focus was sport, and it always has been. And then you got to that level of playing for Australia, didn't get that support, and then you had that back injury, and you're trying to get back into society, but you just don't know where to start because you never had that starting point. Now, you said that you're having a lacking of understanding of your identity now, and I think even in another sort of situation might be not as traumatic as this experience you've been through. We all have points where we are having a lacking of identity. You know, it's like you go through school and they're like, you've got to go to uni to get a degree. And I'm sitting there going, because this is me, I was sitting there going, yeah, look, my grades aren't looking too good. If I'm going to uni, I swear to God, I don't even know what I've been doing. I don't even know what you could do for like an OP18 or something, whatever it was.
Arts degree.
What was that?
An arts degree.
Yeah. Look, I'm definitely not the sort of person for arts. I mean, I could try, but you know, it's like that additional pressure where it's kind of like, that's the way you've got to go in society. But if you don't fit in that, it's kind of like, what is my identity? And it's a matter of trying to find that, I believe it's a matter of trying things out and knowing that if it doesn't work out, you're probably going to fuck up. And without fucking up, you won't know that it's right or wrong for you. Have you sort of experienced that and tried in sort of different fields yet? Because I saw that, what's it? Beautiful meditation. So is this a part of trying to find your identity again?
100%. I did yoga and all that sort of stuff for my back rehab, and you know, after that, I had a complete mental breakdown. 100%. Like, up and left Melbourne at 2:00 in the morning, packed my car, went on this road trip for 4 or 5 weeks. I don't even know where I went. You know, up the coast, down the coast, inside out, ridiculous places, just by myself. Didn't tell anyone where I was going, and apparently I was a missing persons. So I was driving on this little road trip completely by myself. No one knew where I was, no one knew who I was, and the police were looking up for me, and I was like, oh fuck. And at this point it was, you know, finalized that I would not return to skiing because of my mental health. So I had it in my head, this was time, be good at sport and die. So that was the plan. I got on this road trip and I'd go to all these beautiful places, these waterfalls, blah, blah, blah. And I found this one waterfall, and it was just, I was like, yep, that's it. This is it. And, you know, I quite violently and quite brutally did try to attempt to take my own life. I was sitting at the bottom of the waterfall at maybe 7 or 8 o'clock at night, pitch black, just listening to it thunder down on the bottom. And I was like, yep, I'm so content right now. Be good at sport, kill myself. That was the plan. I'm so happy. Yep, it's going to plan. It's all good. And, you know, sitting there 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, knife by my side, clonazepam, took a few clonazepam just to calm me down. And by 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I stabbed myself 3, 4 times, passed out in the rain, woke up hypothermic, blood just gushing out of my guts, just, yeah, quite brutally, I was like, fuck, I failed. What do I do now? So I got myself up like any athlete does after an injury. Like, I'm bleeding out of my guts, hiked back up, drove myself to a hospital, and they're like, what can we help you with? I'm like, oh, I just need a few stitches. True athlete there, not showing you pain. I was like, oh, fuck. Into a psych ward. Naughty me, I escaped the psych ward. So the cops were after me again. 5 weeks gone, missing person, didn't tell anyone who I was, ended up in another psych ward and another one. And it was just like, what do I do now? They're like, who are you? And I was like, I refused to tell them my name, because I was no longer Brittany the athlete. I was nothing. And that's how I felt, 100%. So my mental health caught up on me, and I was just gone. maybe a year and a half ago, I met Chris. Hi, Chris. And yeah, no, we've been really, really close, and he's 100% supported me through absolutely everything, through good, bad, suicidal. And he's encouraged me. Like he spoke about his meditation when you guys chatted, however long ago that was, well before I was around. And yeah, he got me into it, and he's like, just a couple minutes a day. And before I knew it, it was 3-4 hours just lying in my bed. Whether I was suicidal, happy, sad, I would just lie there and just breathe. And it was all I had. Like, all you have to your name is your name, and your reputation and that's it. That's who you are. And I didn't know what that meant. I had no passion, no guide, no life plan. I had no backup. I had nothing. You ask kids what they want to be when they're 4 or 5 years old. Like, I want to be an astronaut. I want to have a cool car and a house and this and that. And you ask me, and I just saw pitch black. I was like, so to me that was, you're not going to grow up. You're not going to grow old. After sport, you're like just black. So that was me being like, I'm done. And Chris supports me every single day, even today, whether I'm suicidal, and he's just like, just breathe, just breathe. So we started meditating together, and I just went off on this little tangent one day, and he's like, why don't you study? Why don't you teach? And I thought about it, and I was like, it would have been 2 months later, and I just kind of let it slide, and I secretly signed up to become a meditation teacher, and I didn't tell him. I don't know why. I'm really bad at telling people things voluntarily, and Chris knows this. It took him 6 months to get him to tell me like anything. I was like, I like cherry blossoms, and he's like, what? I was like, I just don't tell him things. It's really bad. I'm sorry. I'm trying. And yeah, a couple of weeks went by after I enrolled, and I got my first course, and I told Chris, and he's like, it's beautiful. It's amazing. And that first word, it's beautiful, just stuck with me. So I studied for 6-8 months, did this year-long course in 8 months because I'm a psychopath, and I just meditated 6 hours a day and studied. And yeah, no, I've graduated with an advanced degree in meditation as a lifestyle medicine. And I don't know, I would practice on Chris. He was my test dummy, and he's like, he would meditate for years before I met him, and he's like, I've meditated before, but when you speak to me and when you guide me through this meditation, I go deeper. And he's so soothed and relaxed, and he's just like, your voice, and he's like, you were made for this. It was perfect. So here I am 3 years later after leaving sport, and I'm only just kind of slightly finding something that might be me. And there are days where I'm like, nah, it's not me. I can't do it. I'm the athlete. And Chris will remind me, no, you're Brittany. You're Brittany. What does that mean? And I still don't have an answer. But it's not, I'm the athlete anymore. It's, I'm Brittany. And it's such a big difference. And that meditation has helped me, and that course gave me something to focus on. It made me a little less suicidal on some days and more on other days. But it guided me. It gave me something to do, something to look forward to each day, because now I can help people. I've graduated. I can help people. I can meditate, and I want to help people with their mental illness and COVID at the moment. Everyone's so stressed. Everyone needs to relax, and I thought it was perfect. And just, if I can help anyone, just even the slightest bit, just relax and de-stress. And if they want to get their trauma off their chest, or I don't even know what the word is, just, acknowledge it. Like, I just want to help, and I want them to feel like they're not alone, because I felt so alone.
I don't know how you feel about talking about this sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. It might come just off the tongue now, but you have to be really proud of yourself for talking about this sort of stuff. So thank you. I just want to say thank you before we continue. It's not easy to openly say that you pretty much hit rock bottom, and you kind of just didn't know where to go, and out of that you found something. You found meditation. You old mate Chris Seipel's leading you in the right direction. But that's the thing, like work with that. Hey, I was going to say, I don't usually bring up some of the things I've been through, but because of just trying to find pure relatability, because as you said, that relatability is sometimes the cure for getting over things rather than seeing someone behind a clipboard. Nothing wrong against seeing people, in profession, but sometimes it purely is just hearing someone else's story and going, oh, I can actually acknowledge that I can take something out of it, and it's just about life is too short, you know what I mean? And if we get bogged up and worried about what other people think, it's very easy to do that. Then we focus on that way too long, and then before we know it, we're 30, and we've spent 10 years worrying about some bloke in a wheelchair screaming at us, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like we get bogged down in these sort of things. So don't feel like you're the only one going through that, the whole identity thing. I know a lot of people are as well, but because a lot of people are just following societal values and what I could call it a trend. So majority of people are doing what everyone else is doing, and we fit in that way. If you don't fit in that crowd and you're trying something else out for where a lot of people don't particularly do, that's when you start feeling what's my identity? When a lot of people are doing that one thing that you're doing, you go, I don't really need to worry about that because everyone else is in the same sort of situation. So I feel like you're now learning that meditation's right for you. You want to get into that natural healing. Now, when you start to get people that work in that field, you'll learn. You'll probably find over time that you probably won't be focusing on that idea of identity, because now you're happy because your main purpose. You're saying that your main purpose of somewhat of your identity is to help people naturally heal them and overcome some of the stress load that they may be holding on to, whether it be through COVID or something tragic that they've gone and experienced throughout their life. That's part of your identity now. That will grow over time. The more people you get involved with your meditation page, all that sort of stuff, you build a bigger community. You won't focus on that too much. I think over time, you just keep going, you'll be fine.
Yeah, and I think, I've been through so much, whether it's, sports, injuries, loss, abuse, violence, anything. Like, there's a list of things you could pick off, and you'll find just that one little thing, and I'm like, yeah, I understand. And I don't need to, I can tell you exactly about it, or you can tell me, and I can be like, I didn't go through it like this, but I've got that one little, just like the little thing to just slide in and just be like, I get it. And that's like really big for me, because with all the psychology and psychiatry and all those appointments, they're all just, people that have read books but who knows fucking words out at you, and you're just like, what do you know? Have you even been through it? And I'm very adamant that I won't see anyone unless I know that they can relate and they can struggle and they can get up every day and be like, fuck, this sucks, and I'm still gonna do it. So for me, it's like, I will tell you a jillion things that have gone wrong in my life that I can be like, yeah, I understand and I get it. Like that's all someone needs. They want to feel connected and known and acknowledged, and that's meditation, just acknowledging it, whether it's me acknowledging it for you or you come to it yourself. It's just acknowledging, and I think it's really big, and I think a lot of people need that.
Talking about meditation, so I tried I don't know if you've ever heard of this before. I tried out beer yoga. So
you're just drinking the beer as you're like,
no, legit, like I'm not even joking. It's exactly like that. Like I'm not even. There's no training course or anything. You just go there, you rock up. It's they do it at Felons in Howard Smith Wharf in Brisbane. So you just sit on the grass field there, and you're just lying there, and the instructor's like, oh, grab your beer, and I'm sitting there going, what the fuck, is she actually taking the piss? And then you'll be getting into proper poses. Oh, don't ask me about the poses. The only thing I know is downward dog. That's the only thing I can remember. Probably not the best one to remember, but you're going on with the poses, and then she says, oh, grab your beer and start doing these ones. And I think it's about just trying to get people more involved with the idea of taking a deep breath, getting involved with these sort of exercises like yoga, like meditation. Try to make it a bit more user-friendly, because the more we get involved in that sort of stuff, like you'll find, as you said, the deeper the breathing, You know, the slower you can kind of put yourself down, and like the pace you lower your pace down, and the way that you run around your life, you take a deep breath and actually sit still and just actually be in the moment and just focus on the stretch you're doing, or focus on your breathing in the instance of meditation. It's so vital. It's so important, because I think we all struggle with the idea. We just run around too much. We go, oh, what can we do here? What can we do there? Oh, I don't even know what I want to do with myself. Well, we sometimes we actually just need to take a deep breath and just focus on the now, and focus, and don't worry too far ahead into the future. I think it's a massive, massive problem. Now, something I really want to bring up as well, because I don't get enough girls on the show, honestly. So I really appreciate you coming on, seriously. So for women as well, because let's talk about the instance of maybe a girl that's in a situation where that she might feel quite vulnerable. Anything in general, whether it be with a guy or in the instance of not being able to openly speak about her feelings and emotions in a way that she feels comfortable about doing so. You know, where would you suggest to start?
Oh God, it would depend on the situation. I mean, you've got guys, girls all across the world just being like, oh, girls are crazy. And I'm like, no, they're not. They're just misunderstood. They'll try and say something and you'll take it the wrong way, and you know, and then you put the blame back on them. It's they're crazy. No, just take a breath and try and actually listen to what they're saying. I think everyone just needs to take a breath before they breathe, like before they speak. That was one of our key things. You know, if we had media interviews, it was, they ask you a question, you need to take a breath before you respond. It gives you that moment to reflect. You'd be like, what am I going to say? Is it meaningful? Is it purposeful? Is it needed, wanted, helping the situation? So breathing was always really big for us, and you know, that breath really does bring your body down. It calms you down, and with your beer yoga, I'm sure. I actually really love that. I want to go now. We'll set up a date.
Well, me, you, and Chrissy Sype we'll do some downward dogs together.
Yeah, I actually think it's a fantastic idea, because you know, everyone's drinking, they can start to relax. You know, skull, you're breathing in, and you're like, oh my God, I need to swallow so I can breathe. So you're sculling, and they're like, and now, and then you're like, oh my God, finally I can breathe. I've got all this beer out of my mouth, now I can breathe. I think it's fantastic. It's so unique. It's so intuitive, and it just kind of fits with our generation in the society that we've got. Everyone wants to go out and have fun, but everyone needs and wants their health. And it's just trying to find unique ways to get people into it and doing it, whether it's, you know, someone that's never meditated before goes to beer yoga to relax. It's fun. You've got alcohol, you're calm, you're with friends, and you're doing something good for your health.
Yeah, no, so true. We just got to take a deep breath. Actually, just slow down. Pretty much. I can go on about this all day, but the summary would be to slow down. I don't know if this is true as well, because I have been mentioned. Someone had mentioned to me of this. A girl mentioned to me of this. This is a standard thing. I'm just talking about when you go out in the valley or go out at night. Is it true that if a girl's walking by herself at night, she will have her car keys
100% in between your fingers?
See, from a guy's perspective, for me, because I'd never want to put a girl in a situation where she would feel that uncomfortable. It hurts me to think that there's guys that make women feel that bad. You know, like what do you think needs to change to be able to put the car key away and feel comfortable walking home? You know, say for example, you're walking by yourself and your friends message you at 11 p.m. going, "Hey, I'm at X Cargo or whatever club or wherever restaurant," and you're saying, yeah, sweet, I'll be over in 20 minutes, and you just feel so comfortable, so free walking over, no worry in the world.
It's really difficult, and especially in a place like the Valley where there are so many homeless, drug addicts, people that are in a quite vulnerable and delusional state. They don't know what they're doing, and there's only so much you can control. You can't control another person's actions. You can't control how much meth they've been on for the last 7-8 days. Like, you can't control that, and you just need to, you know, be comfortable in yourself. Like, I don't like leaving my house unless I'm with a friend or have a purpose. It's like, okay, I need to go to the shops and get blah, 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 blah. If I was just to go on a stroll, I would 100% have my keys. I would not feel comfortable.
I do hope over time, slowly but surely, that does change. From a guy's perspective, I don't know where we need to start. Maybe it is a matter of actually teaching young boys at school how to treat a woman right. I feel like personally, the idea of giving a girl respect is like one of the hardest things to do right now. We focus on the way we look, our appearance and stuff, and then the rest will follow. The rest will continue on from there. But respect kind of just gets brushed aside. Main thing I think we need to really like hammer down on respect, just getting that right, and I feel like that will have a positive impact on putting the car keys down.
And I don't think it's just men. I think it's women as well. There's a quote, and it's, be careful the rumors you hear about a woman, because it's from a girl that isn't like good enough, or has like, she's jealous of her. Like, a girl is going to be jealous of another girl because that guy's talking to her, or she's pretty, or this. A girl's going to be jealous, and girls are brutal. Like, I have had a girl rip my hair out, smash my face in a concrete wall, and stab me with a vodka bottle. Like, girls are vicious. I think they're more vicious and more brutal than men. But 100%, like, respect needs to come back into society. And it's difficult when we've got, Instagram only posting like the best self with the filter in that, like, and then you see someone in real life and you're like, oh my God, you don't look like that. And then the hate just comes, and it's brutal, and it's hammered down into this just one aspect. It's just ridiculous. And it's definitely not just men, it's women as well.
So interesting you say that, because if you're looking on the online dating, I mean, I've tried it and I really hate it. I've tried the Bumble, because the women reach out first and see, and then you kind of get an understanding of maybe they have an interest in me, versus getting matches and not getting responses. Maybe I'm just not creative in the way I start a conversation. I usually just go for the hey, or like do a gif like with a bear waving hey, or the bear, that big bear, or like Napoleon Dynamite just doing a groove on the D floor. I just don't take it too serious. But yeah, you're so true, because like if you look too much into Instagram and Tinder and all those sort of social media platforms, the main focus is always filter and look and appearance. It's always that. If you put that aside, and as you said, if you meet someone out for the first time and they don't look anything like what they do in the photo, because it's now a massive societal value, we go, am I doing the right thing? Should I maybe brush her aside and move on and find someone else? Rather than actually giving her the opportunity to get to know her and get to know her personality. Because you could have a really, really good looking girl and the personality is really sour. So I think we need to really implement that back into society. I don't know. The days have gone, when it would have been around the same time, like, your parents and stuff, when you were like, they were younger and my parents were younger, going up to a pub and actually meeting people out for the first time. Like, attractiveness is good, but personality is better. Like clicking with someone, having a drink with them and having a laugh was so much more valuable than looking at a girl and going, oh yeah, body looks pretty good. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, definitely. I think we need to like fuck Instagram off and all those things off, to like just cancel the internet for like 2 days and see what happens in the world. Honestly, people will be like, what the fuck? It's literally, it's too much. It's, the internet was created as a way to connect with people, and now it's too much of a face value. What you see is what you get, but it's not who they are. It's, I need to put on this front and be who I think you want me to be. That's what everything's come down to. It's, you go on a holiday, but you can't go on a holiday unless you get the perfect photo. It's not okay anymore, and people have lost that value. They've lost that connection. And when I met Chris and we started meditating, it was like we would just lie there and not speak for like half an hour, but I felt very connected to him, whether it was because he supported me, he understood me. He's like, yeah, you need to meditate. Like, it's going to be good for you. And he supported that, and he helped me grow into that. Like, I think we need to get off all this ridiculous websites and actually connect and connect to people like we're doing right now, sitting down, having a conversation. You need to be able to do that these days, not just swipe, pretty photo, like it just, you need a conversation these days as well.
Because the internet actually did crash, or Instagram, Facebook did crash last week. I think it was for maybe half a day, and people were absolutely going bananas. They were freaking out. And it's like, because we're so used to looking at the phone, you know, if a notification goes off on my phone, I have to look at it because it's just instilled in me. Like I get the itchies. Yeah. Like I have to go and check the phone.
Notification anxiety.
No, 100%. And it was, yeah, when that was taken away from us, because we're so addicted to the phone. Well, because we do it all the time, we don't really see it as addiction. You know, if we look at someone who's an alcoholic, it's a lot more, you can acknowledge it and you can see it a lot more versus everyone else using the phone, because everyone's using it and it's a societal thing that everyone does. We don't see it as an addiction, but once it's taken away from us for half a day, you know, certain social media platforms are taken away from us. That's when we go, holy shit, what do we do? You know, because half our spare time is with the phone. You know, whether we like it or not, it might not be in the apps. It could be just texting people, it could be calling people for work purposes. It's on the phone.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I didn't even know Instagram crashed. Like, clearly I'm up with the times. But like, yeah, you know, Instagram crashes. Everyone goes insane. They don't know how to connect. They don't know how to speak to people. People don't even know how to make an actual phone call these days. They're like, no, just text me. And I'm like, no, I want to speak to you. I want to hear your voice. I want to be able to connect with you. And they're like, no. It's like, okay. I tell people I'm a meditation teacher, and they're like, why would you do that? There's an app for it. And I'm like, and the app crashes, and what are you going to do? Ring my number.
But that's again, what do you call it? Social media phone addiction. Mm-hmm. That's phone addiction again, because they just go, easy option, boom, done. But then it comes down to nitty gritty things as well, like using the right emoji. Oh, nah, that person doesn't have an interest in me because he didn't use the blushy face emoji. Like, people look too far into it, where like, go back to basics. The idea of just meeting people, talking to people, and seeing if there's some sort of spark there, it's gone. I don't know where to go from here.
Yeah, like if you meet someone, you're like, I have a bad vibe about them. Like, if through the phone, you're like, I have no idea what this means. And you like read too much into it, and then they read into it, and you're like, oh, I think they think I mean that. It just gets out of hand. And as soon as all that's gone, like, you go for a job interview, no one actually knows how to have a conversation. You're sitting there shaking in your chair. You're like, I don't know how to breathe. I don't know how to relax. I don't know how to talk to these people. How am I supposed to work for these people? Like, you're so used to being on your phone all the time. How do you even go about society these days? It's quite ridiculous. And, you know, I think, you know, when I got into meditation, I was really big on, I'm not going to do it online. I'm not going to put up things online. I'm going to see people face to face, because people need that connection, because they're lost in their phones. They're lost in the apps and the cars and, you know, Facebook, Instagram, everything. They're just lost, and they've lost connection with other people, with themselves. So I think it's really important to be face to face and in person with people, because you can get that vibe. You know, if you're a little bit sad and I'm a little bit happier, then you can take some of my happiness. We can connect like that. And I think it's really important. I think we need a lot more of it in society these days.
There's a really good movie that encompasses this outlook on life and just being in the moment, and rather than looking at the phone. Because I find that if we're not actually being in the moment, it could be a matter of meeting someone for the first time, and they may say a few things about, you know, their hobbies and all that sort of stuff, and you're looking at the phone whilst they're telling you all this sort of stuff, and you come back and you completely forget everything they've said. So very, very similar to that. So I don't know if you ever heard of Secret Life of Walter Mitty. So it's a really weird movie to start off with, because he's very confused. He doesn't know what his purpose is, and he's afraid to speak up. So they have all these like, I guess, dreams of how he would react in certain situations, and they're just so like over the top, very funny, but it's very weird. And you're going, where's this leading into? But the story is, he's like he looks after photos for this big magazine, and basically they're looking for this last shot for the last ever book version of this magazine, because they were going to go digital, and the guy sent all these different frames, but the frame that he was after wasn't there. And it goes on this journey of trying to find this photographer again to get that frame to seal the deal and make it the new cover. And he goes on this massive journey. He ends up like in these, I don't even know, like some mountains off somewhere, and he finds a photographer, and the photographer is looking at this rare tiger, and he's like, "Oh, it's so hard to find this tiger. Holy shit, we found it. Let's take a photo." And before he does it, he just freezes and just looks at the tiger, and Walter's just like, "What are you doing? Like, you've gone on this massive journey. You found the tiger. Why aren't you taking the photo?" And he just said, like, sometimes in life, it's just a matter of taking it in, living in the moment, and just being there, being present, rather than actually having something there to be in your way. You know, even taking a photo, even going to a music festival, you know, are you actually...
It's 100% just like people's heads in cameras. Like, there's no enjoying the music anymore. It's just gone. It's all camera.
Because I just find with that movie as well, I don't think you're in the moment. I don't think you're even present if you're watching an artist perform and you're like, "Holy shit, I love this song," and you're taking in the main focus now. Get the phone out. Hopefully the phone's not dead. Hopefully I've got enough storage to take a decent 1080p, you know, video of this amazing song, and I'll post it up on Instagram, show people where I am and all sorts of stuff. Are you really in the moment? Like, I look at it as the person that's actually looking at the video behind another phone versus you taking a photo or a video of that moment behind your phone. Are you any different to them?
No, not at all. Like, if you're, you know, taking a photo for Instagram, you're thinking about the future. You're already well ahead. Like, the future doesn't exist and the past doesn't exist. Everything I say that comes out of my mouth is already gone. Like, it's not even in the moment. So basically the words I speak are just, "Oh, sorry, they're already gone. I can't enjoy them. I can't be in the moment." You're trying to get that photo for Instagram, for Facebook, to show people how good you are and how great your life is. You're thinking about the future. You're thinking about other people, how they think about you, what they think of you, all these other things that are just ridiculous and that you can't control either. The only thing you can control is, you know, what you're doing right now. And the only thing that is constant in what you're doing right now is your breath. It will never leave you until the day you die. Your blood will pump, your heart will pump, and you will breathe. That is all you have in this moment, and that's all it ever will be. You can think about the future, that's fantastic, but you can't live in the future. You can only live in the now, and that's all you're going to have.
Jeez, Brittany, you're gonna make me start thinking about why is the sky blue and what's blue, and, you know, bloody oranges. Why is orange? Holy shit. You know what I mean? You can go full deep and meaningful in this sort of stuff if you really want to. I'm sorry. It's all good, honestly. Like, I have a tendency of going there sometimes when I feel like it. Look, Brittany, I really appreciate you taking up your time to just be really honest, just have an honest conversation about, you know, your lifestyle and sport and how it's always been your number one priority, you know, getting to the stage of representing Australia in as an aerial skier. And then having that back injury and kind of trying to mold back into society and finding your identity, and now you're in that process now. You've found a little bit of that, and that's all you need. You work towards something. For people that may be in a similar sort of situation, you know, maybe they couldn't find their crowd at school, outside of school. They don't know really where they're going. They're just working somewhere to make the money for the time being. They don't really know who they are. Where do you suggest for them to start?
Get comfortable with being alone. Like, you're not going to be surrounded by your best friends 24/7. You're not going to live with a partner for the rest of your life. Like, there's no guarantee about anything. I would definitely just suggest trying to be alone, whether it's sitting at your house, going through old magazines, old things that you find on your bed. You'll slowly just find like a pattern, whether it's, you know, for me, it was, I've always been good at helping people. People come with their problems, and I have this thing where I can just talk and my words just kind of articulate into a way that they soothe people. So I found this pattern of, I helped him and I helped her and I helped her, and when she had this problem, she came to me, and I found that pattern of I can help people. And I found that while I was alone, while I was at my lowest, when I had absolutely nothing, when sport got ripped away from me because of mental health and a back injury, when I had no one by my side, I was alone and I didn't have that choice. But if you can recognize that, you know, there's a lot going on and you don't know who you are, then I would suggest, take a minute, take a day, take, 5 minutes for all it matters. And be alone and just think, who am I and what do I value? What do I think is important? Where are my morals? Like, if you're a kid and you're like, I want to be a policeman, you're like, do I have morals for this? Do I have the values for this? And you can slowly pick it out. And, there's little things, it'll just come to you. But you've got to be able to be comfortable being alone.
Spot on. Because anything you go through in life, whether it be a breakup, whether you come out of you're made redundant from work, or even just restrictions with lockdown at the moment with COVID, especially if you're in Melbourne, if you can allow yourself to be by yourself before worst case scenarios do present themselves, then I feel like you'd be really good in the long run. Like it's not going to make everything. It's not going to change the struggle that you may be having to face, but it's going to help alleviate some of that struggle.
I will struggle with mental illness for the rest of my life, but I am slowly becoming comfortable with the fact that, I will have to deal with these things alone. People won't understand, and I'm going to have to do it on my own. And I had to hit rock bottom to get there. But I think if, at a younger age, whether it's, in school or with your parents, or if you're out with your friends, if you can recognize, I need to do some things alone and find some time for yourself, then do it. Do it. Be alone and just recognize what you're going to have to do and what you're going to have to go through, and who's truly going to be there for you and who you can rely on, because the only person you can rely on is yourself. No matter how much people love you, it's going to be up to you.
I know I've already said it before, but I really appreciate you just being so open and honest, because it is this topic itself of self-identity and the unknown of the future for what is to occur for you. It is a massive thing. So I really appreciate you just being so open and honest.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
But yeah, guys, this has been season 3, episode 9 of Couch in the Mind, clearing the mind one couch talk at a time. And on today's episode, I had Brittany George joining me in conversation, revolving around the topic of all or nothing. For those who may be interested in checking out Brittany's meditation page, Beautiful, that's how it is. It's not beautiful, it's Beautiful meditation. Yeah. How do they find that?
Instagram, Facebook, I don't know what that is, a line, line, the rest of the word, full meditations. It'll pop up. Otherwise, I can always leave some cards with yourself and you can sort them out and send them around. But I'll always be up for, even if you don't want to meditate, just someone to chat to. There's always some way that I'll be able to understand, whether it's through personal experience or just having the background knowledge and perspective. Like I'm up for a chat, and if you need anything, I'll always be able to help you, and happy to if you want to reach out. So you've got my name, my number, my Instagram. Even if it crashes, my number will still work.
You got it sorted. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you. Thanks, guys. If you guys enjoyed this episode and you're after more Couch in the Mind content, feel free to check us out on Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, and many other audio platforms. And as always, guys, if you need anything, feel free to message me on the Couch in the Mind Facebook page. Thanks again for tuning in.